welcome to another math adventure with me, Jen, your math guide, I guess. Today's lesson, we're going to look at some more place value problems in second grade, and these I consider to be more difficult. And as you can see, it's got the question mark of missing, and I'm going to show you what that means. So let's get started. Missing place value problem. So the reason why I call this missing is, let's go ahead and look at this example that's again from the second grade Common Core textbook. And I love that it says whisper talk. I can just see these little 7-year-olds whispering to each other. Okay, so whisper talk the numbers and words as you fill in the blanks. So the very first one says 16 and equals how many tens and how many ones. And so a student hopefully would go, oh, there's 1 10 and there's 6 ones. Awesome. And then we get to the second one, and it's all 16 equals, and a student's gonna be like, I already said it, there's 6 ones. And unfortunately, that's not correct. And the reason why it's not correct is because what this is saying is it's saying that 16 is equal to 6 ones. So, you had $16 and somebody said, oh yeah, that's the same as $6. Yeah, no. Okay, so what's going on here that is not terribly clear at first is that what this is asking is to build 16 using only 1, okay? So what we would want students to recognize is that if every place value is accounted for, then they're just gonna write the digit, right? Like 200, 110, 7 ones. But if we have some of our place values missing, for example, this one just has hundreds and ones, and this one just has tens and ones. So we're going to need to do a bit of thinking before we can get it correct, okay? But hopefully that makes sense to you, the idea that 16 is not equal to 6, okay? So they're asking us to build 16 using only 1. So I have 2 ideas for you guys to use in the classroom. Excuse me, the first one is using base 10 blocks or money. You can choose which one you want to do. Okay, so we talked in the last video about base 10 blocks and what they look like. So if you need a quick recap, hundreds are called flats. Okay, tens are the rods. Sometimes I just call them sticks. And 1 are the little tiny unit cube blocks. So they call them units. Okay, as far as I'm looking at this going, moan, what's bone? Money, okay? So for money, you'd want to use $100 bills, $10 bills, and $1 bills of fake money. If you had enough real money to do that, I don't think you're going to the classroom. Okay, so here we go. What the idea here is that we would have either at a table group or at a learning center or maybe individually at each desk, depends on your supplies, is that you would have students see what place values they need, and those are the only blocks or bills that they can grab. So for example, we want them to build 217, but they're only allowed to use hundreds and ones. So that means they would only use the $100 bills and $1 bills, or the flats and the little tiny unit, okay? Now, technically, they could make 217 all with ones. But here we want them to try to be as efficient as possible. So we're going to ask, okay, how many hundreds could you use? And they're going to say, I can use 2. 3's too many, 1's not enough, 2 is perfect, okay? And then we ask ourselves, okay, well, can we build 17 all out of ones? Yeah, we can. So here we would hope that students would grab 2 hundreds, which would be either flats or $100 bills, and then 17 ones. There you go. All right, now for the second example, we want them to build 139, but they can only use tens and ones. So that means they're only going to use the rods, little units, or $10 bills and $1 bills. Okay, that's all they've got. They're not allowed to use hundreds. So we're going to say, okay, well, what's the biggest thing you have? Okay, the biggest thing I have is a 10. How many tens are you going to need? Well, we talked about this in the last video. 10 tens equal 100. Okay, so maybe they have to count that out to get there, or maybe they just remember, oh, 10's 100. Okay, great. If they don't remember, they're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going to get to 10. And then they're going to need 3 more to get to 130, right? So it would be 13 tens. So they're going to count out those 10 tens, and then they would need 3 more. So we're going to get a total of 130, taking care of those 1310, right? Then we're going to ask our student, okay, what's left? 9 ones. Okay. Now, there's more than one correct answer technically. So technically, a student could use 12 tens and 19 ones, or 11 tens and 29 ones. I mean, you could decide how much creativity you want to go there. I'm trying to be the most efficient, so I'm asking them to use the largest denomination first before they move on to the next. I got another idea for you. That is a place value. I do love a chart, mainly just because even though I do love objects, tactile objects, they do cost quite a bit of money. And a chart, if you have it laminated or even in one of those binder sleeves with a dry erase marker, they're not that expensive. Okay, there we go. So I always will suggest a chart along with other tools. So for this one, we've got our place value chart. And here, this is just hundreds, tens, and ones. And whoa, that one's really blurry. Sorry about that. I'll rewrite it for you guys. But the idea here is that they're going to write their number in here. So hopefully you can see that they wrote the number 217, which would be 200, 200s, 1, 10, and 7 ones. Okay. Then what they're going to do is they're going to highlight the two places that they have. So in this case, they're going to highlight the hundreds and they're going to highlight the ones. And in fact, what you could also have them do is cross off the one that they're not allowed to use. Okay, this is saying then that they would need 2 hundreds and then 17 ones. I'm going to do it from scratch over here. And I can even make up another example if you think that would be helpful. But here we go. All right, so I'm going to write 139, and I'm going to highlight the place value. So that means that we're not allowed to use 100. Okay, so what this is telling me is that I'm not only going to use 3 tens, I'm actually going to use 13. And then I'm going to use 9 ones. Okay, what if I had 139 and I'm only allowed to use ones? Remember that 16 and we were only allowed to use ones? Could I still use a chart? Yeah. I totally could. I am going to abbreviate the chart, though, just so that I don't have to write it all out and take up valuable time. Okay. So if you want to do all ones, I would highlight just the ones. That means that we're not allowed to use any tens or any hundreds. And so you could see that our answer would be 130. I make it look so easy. I know, that's why I call it math magic. It looks like magic with me, but hopefully I'm giving you enough fundamentals so that when you leave me, you'll still be able to do it. All right, let's do 2 more examples. So we saw a problem like this in the last video, which talked about how do you do 12 tens, and we talked about that you could count out sticks. You could also make the connection that 10 tens equals 100. So here I'd have 10 tens is 100, 2 more tens would be 20. So this is the same thing as 120. And then I just have adding 4. So this would be 120. Okay. There's another way you can do it. We talked about the fact that if you are noticing a pattern, when you're asked how much 12 tens is equal to, tens would be just adding a 0. So we talked about the fact that, this was in the previous video, that you could have students make the connection of, oh, I just add a 0. Okay, well, how do we make that connection with hundreds? Well, if you have hundreds, you wouldn't add just 1 0, you'd add 2 zeros. So here we'd have 2 zeros. Okay. So this problem is asking us which one is bigger, meaning which one's the larger number. Is it 124 or 114? That one's the larger one. Okay. And look, we have one more of those fill in the blanks problems here. So here we have 329, and we only want to use 10s and 1. Okay, so I'm going to use 9 ones. And it looks like I'm going to use 32 tens. One more slide to look at. So when second graders are working through these lessons over quite a few weeks, okay? Every week they're kind of learning 1 or 2 new skills, new techniques. The whole idea is that when they get the end of this module, they should be able to be very fluent going back and forth between standard form, word form, place value form, where you have words associated with it. And we want to figure out which one is bigger, which one is smaller, or is it equal to. So just to remind you, if it's been a while, this symbol is greater than. Okay. This symbol is less than. All right, you want to know a secret of how I learned them? You ready for it? So if you make an L and you kind of bend it a little bit, it looks like the less than. So L for less than. So I'd even take my hand sometimes and we'll make an L and then squish it just to remind students. So there you have it. And of course we have our equals too. So I'm just gonna randomly choose one. How about I go with this guy? 320. So this is asking students to take this word form and figure out what it is in standard form. So 320. Okay. And then this one is 34 tens. So hopefully at this point, they're going to be fluent in just adding a 0. Otherwise, they're going to have to go, oh, 10 tens equals 100. So I've got 3 of those. You know the drill. Okay. Here, 320 is less than 340. Okay. I'll do one more just because I can. 5 hundreds, 2 tens, and 4 ones. And then 53 tens. 524 is less than 530. Okay. All right, I hope you had some fun, maybe. Maybe I got your brain working, thinking about different ways that you could help students learn about these more difficult place value. And of course, I'm here to help demystify some of the things that you might come across in a Common Core textbook. But with that, I hope you had a fun time with me. And next time, we'll tackle a new topic together. So until then, have an awesome rest of your day. Good luck working on this stuff. And be good, be kind to each other. Bye-bye.